The producer sent me the script. They said, would you do a horror movie as an actor? So I was looking at it just as an actor, and I wasn't gonna do it on just the basis that it was a horror movie, which is so ignorant and stupid. I was so incredibly moved by the power of this family. Yes, the movie's scary, and yes, it's so much fun in how we explore the world and get you to be scared. But to me, the only reason why it's the type of scary it is because you care about this family. We had just had our second daughter 3 weeks before I read the script. I mean, it was like a gunshot as far as right in my heart. I was so moved by this incredible, powerful metaphor for parenthood. And so what I did in my rewrite was I was able to bring my own experience to it. So I really drilled down even more about this family dynamic and how everything that the father and the mother did was for the family. And at the end of the day, I know it sounds insane. You look at this poster and you're like, he's nuts, but this is my love letter to my kids. It really is. To actually share this process for the first time was pretty awesome and pretty emotional and pretty exciting. And so what I learned about her are things that probably her cast and her crew knew before me, which is how insanely professional she is, how insanely talented she is, but also what an incredible collaborator she is. She has such good ideas, she's so smart, and she brings an enthusiasm to the project every single day that really makes everybody do better work. So to me, I guess it's almost just experiencing that and getting to see what it is that makes her such a great actress firsthand rather than just on the screen was massive. They always say don't work with kids because it slows things down and they have school and they never get it right and whatever. But the truth is, I probably slowed these kids down. They are so good, so professional, such incredible actors. But more than that, they're such great people. And I actually was a little worried about some of the deeper, darker underbelly of this movie and talking to kids about stuff like loss or fear or losing your parents and stuff like that is really intense stuff. And these kids went headlong into it. And Millie is an entirely different experience. I mean, she is not only one of the best actresses I've ever worked with, but being deaf, which was a non-negotiable thing for me to cast a deaf actress, I needed her as my guide to walk me through what it was like to be a part of a family. Being someone who's deaf, does she ever have regrets? Does she ever feel judged? Does she ever feel empowered? All these incredibly personal things she shared with me. She was the reason why I learned ASL so well, because she was the most amazing teacher. It is truly one of the more special experiences I've had in movies.
I think our children shouldn't even see this till they're at least 40 anyway, just so that they're fully prepared. I was more than anything just so impressed by his abilities, and not only visually, but his ability to communicate with everybody, to be everything to everybody on set, and it's such an all-consuming job, so it's sort of stress management more than anything else. Like, how are you not like up all night, you know? The whole birthing sequence was like a week-long event, and I probably should have just been checked into rehab after it or something. It was just pretty wild shooting that sequence. He just said, you know, this film needs to grab a hold of you and never let go. And he didn't want the respite for anybody. And I think that that's what he achieved. You know, he always knew he wanted to make something that was concise, not a long film. But I think the skill of his storytelling and the way he planted seeds and the payoff of the set pieces is pretty incredible. You know, I was like, I don't even know how his brain works, honestly. It's a bit disturbing.
Because there were only a few of us, it was much easier to, you know, form those bonds, because it was like there wasn't new cast members coming in every day. So yeah, we felt like a family.
I think that John is very open-minded, but his heart is also very open as well. He really loves children, and you can see that he developed a really special relationship with us, and also working with Noah for me was a wonderful, just the perfect person to be with. And John was very open with all of us on set. Reagan is very rebellious and she's very brave, but she's also very sad and depressed, and she's not in a good relationship with her father at that time. And those are difficult emotions. And because you know, in my life, I have an amazing relationship with my father, and I don't feel guilty about anything. And I don't have, you know, something that I'm holding on to that bothers me and weighs me down like the character Reagan. So those were feelings that I had to discover. For me, if something got really difficult in a scene and it made you really sad or it was really dark, John would always pull me aside and talk me through the scene. And you know, we'd spend time for a few minutes, and he would ask me questions about, you know, what would you do if this were really the situation? What would you naturally do? And he really guided me through it, and he just had a way of explaining things so beautifully.
And for me, you know, I felt like this, you know, the role was challenging, and the role, you know, had its downsides, like you had to do night shoots and it was tiring and the emotion was kind of, on the top level the whole time. But when we finished it, it felt like we'd achieved like an amazing achievement, and I think it all paid off because we have an amazing movie now, which is great.